What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Nick back here with you from Project Central. And today we're doing part 2 of our trailer series. And last time we did a bunch of maintenance. We replaced the deck, we re-greased the hubs, we added a new trailer jack, and we put a lighting kit on from Amazon. That went pretty good. Today is nice and chilly, right? So it's in the upper 40s here, that's Fahrenheit. But it's also like super windy. So I don't know how well this is going to film today. But we're going to do our best. Worst case scenario, we'll film it. I'll just do voiceovers. That's how you know that you're like not getting AI content, right? But today is a big video. We're going to be adding a rear metal dovetail to the back of the trailer. We're going to be adding E-track. We're going to be adding some stake pockets, some D-rings, and some receiver tubes on the sides. We're going to weld those on for even more expandability in the future. So come along with me and I'll show you what we're doing and show you what we're working with. So what we're working with is my 18-foot car hauler trailer. It's a 16-foot deck with a 2-foot dovetail. I bought this about 10 years ago and I have neglected it for a long time. That's why in the last video we did a maintenance overview. So these are the sort of like common basic, I don't want to say basic, but like these are like some of the upgrades people do kind of first to a trailer. Whether they bought it brand new or they bought a used trailer. If it's in good shape, you can hopefully skip all the maintenance and not have to do a bunch of that. And you can go straight to doing these type of upgrades, right? Maybe you're hauling dirt bikes, maybe you're hauling a side-by-side. Maybe you've got some sort of business where you've got to build some specific stuff for your trailer. These are some good upgrades, right? For me, we just bought a couple acres up about 30 minutes from our house, 20 minutes from our house, where we're going to hopefully be building a house in a couple years. So we're going to be hauling a lot of building materials, and I've also got teal Jeep behind me that eventually once we finish building that, we're going to have to tow that everywhere we go. All right, first thing we're going to do is we got to do some layout of where we're going to put some of this stuff. But because we oiled the deck boards in the last video to seal them, right? So TLDR, you can use motor oil to seal new deck boards. I usually save all my stuff. I usually save all my used motor oil for trailers and stuff like that. But because we mopped it on, right, we weren't super careful with where we put it, we're going to do some brake clean and some rags to wipe down the areas where we're probably going to have to do some welding here pretty soon. So I'm going to go knock that out right quick, and then we'll come back and I'll show you where we're going to lay some of this stuff out at. So stay tuned. I think I got the oil cleaned up pretty well. Next step is we've kind of laid out where we're going to put some of the accessories. Right, we're going to put a couple D-rings at the front, on the front channel. We're going to put a couple D-rings kind of at the back, kind of just right in front of the lights here. And we're going to add a couple more stake pockets on the back, right behind the wheels. I had removed the ones that were there a long time ago when I was doing these 2 different styles of drive over fenders. I couldn't really tell which ones I was going to settle on, but after thinking about it and having to be around them for a couple years now, I think I'm going to remove this original first kind of like rectangle tube style. I don't really like how they turned out. They're kind of janky and not really the best. So we're going to cut those out of the way. We're going to get our areas prepped so we can weld on some new things. For now, we're just doing some D-rings and stake pockets. So we're going to get those. We're going to get all the areas prepped, and then I'll show you what we're using. All right, so temperature is definitely dropping a little bit. It is cold front moving through. We just got a little sprinkle. Just ate some lunch, came back out, and everything was kind of wet. So extra layer because I think the day's high was at like 5 a.m. and cold front's rolling through. It is, it says it's in the upper 40s still, but we're inside the garage. Out there, it is 10 feet that way. Get out into the wind. It is pretty rough. So we're gonna do some prep on the trailer. We gotta cut those old drive over fender off. We gotta buff some paint off and stuff. So we're gonna knock that out right quick. All the prep and cleanup has been done on the trailer. We've got spots for some D-rings to get welded on. We've got some spots for some stake pockets to get welded on. And the ones I'm most excited about are actually the receiver tube. Picked this up from Harbor Freight. 18-inch receiver tube, standard receiver tube, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna chop this into 3 equal parts at 6 inches apiece. And we're gonna weld 3 sections of this on to the trailer, along with some stake pockets we're gonna weld on. Even though these were advertised at 2 by 4 inches, they are not. They're smaller than advertised, and they're pretty thin gauge metal. But it'll be fine because we're adding D-rings to put chains on, and these are gonna just be for like straps and if we ever have to add sides, right? So not terribly worried about how cheesy these are. And the D-rings. The D-rings we're using, these are weld-on kit. Got these off Amazon too. I'll post links, of course. So we'll add a couple of these to the front, a couple to the back, so if we ever have to like chain something down. These will be good. But first, we're gonna get this receiver tube chopped up and prepped into 3 pieces. So I went ahead and cut down some pieces of 2-inch quarter wall square tubing to fit inside the receiver hitches. These are going to go I'm going to weld these on the back and one on the driver's side of the trailer for upgrades, which I'll show you more in the next video. But for now, we got to drill some holes in them. And one of the big tips you can do is take your piece that's cut and the receiver hitch you're trying to drill a hole through, to put them both in the drill press at the same time and drill them both together. That way once you punch all the way through with your, so I'm using a 5/8 bit, I'm stepping sizes up, but the end size is a 5/8. When you're done drilling all the way through, you should, in theory, be able to put a 5/8 pin or a 5/8 bolt through that because you drilled it all at once. So that's why we're doing it that way. Next up, let's start welding these onto the trailer. Alright, so I just wanted to show you the plan. Normally, if it was a nicer day, I'd wheel out the MIG welding cart, but today, being a little windier, a little bit nastier, we're going to stick weld all this. So the plan is, we're going to start with the 6011s. We're going to do one pass with that, and then where's the number? And then we'll do a pass with these 7018 rods. So should be pretty good. Should go pretty easy. Should be super strong. And anyways, let's get this burnt in. All right, so we're doing 4 D-rings, 3 of the receiver tube mounts, and 2 stake pockets to start with. Once we get it all done, we'll see how it looks. But that's the plan for now, so should work pretty good, and I'm pretty excited to have some extra tie down points on the trailer. welding went pretty well. Doing the 6011 root pass and then a 7018 cap turned out pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Got all the corners and edges kind of buffed. Make sure there was no like boogers on there that were gonna hold, you know, cause problems later. You know, we've all had, at least I've had, you know, the one stake pocket that's got the one little booger that just tears up straps and stuff. So I went and tried to knock some of that stuff down. And the next step is we're just gonna start on the paint. You know, trying to cover all this bare metal. We're using this Rust-Oleum 2X paint primer. I really like this Canyon satin black. This stuff works pretty good. So, you know, we're gonna paint it, let it sit overnight, and then tomorrow we're gonna come back and do some more work on things. All right, well, it is day number 2 out here on the trailer build, and yesterday was so cold and so windy. I've got the gear for it, but when the wind is, you know, 25 miles an hour constant and 35 to 40 mile an hour gusts throughout the day, it's just brutal to work in, and there's only so much you can do in the garage. But we had a good day yesterday. We added a whole bunch of extra tie down points, right? So we added 2 D-rings to the front, 3 stake pockets overall, and these receiver tubes to the back, and 1 to the side. So overall, we did a good job. Got everything spray bombed a little bit, you know, so it doesn't rust. But today we've got some more projects to do. We're gonna put some metal dovetail on the back of the trailer. We're gonna add some E-track to the deck, and hopefully by the end of the day we can get around to rewiring the trailer brakes. I know the brake controller on the truck isn't hooked up to the plug in the back. I gotta do some wire testing on that. But we're gonna hopefully get those 3 things done today. So let's get started. Let me show you what we're working on first. Oh, and today is supposed to be a much nicer day. It's supposed to be about 15 degrees warmer, so it's gonna get up to about 60 today, and the winds are gonna be so much calmer. So hopefully we can get quite a bit done today. But we will see, as always. You know what I just realized? I forgot that I have to do the dovetail first, put all the metal on that first so that I can drill through it and attach the E-track. So, pivot. We're gonna do the dovetail first. We're gonna make a whole bunch of noise at like 8 a.m. My neighbors love that. All right, so the sheet of metal we need, you know, sometimes you don't have storage for everything, so it just sits in the driveway with a vehicle on top of it. So we're gonna see if the Jeep will start. Got the keys. I do know that we did disconnect the battery last time we used it because it's got a little draw. So hopefully the battery's charged, and yeah, let's see what's up. Come on, baby. Never a doubt. Never doubt the Jeeps until they break down on you. Until they break and leave you stranded or cost you thousands of dollars. Never doubt the Jeeps though. All right, let me show you the metal sheet I got for free. So this metal sheet was a stair landing that was left over on a big commercial job. Last year I made a friend with a superintendent who was from out of state. He lives in Georgia, I'm in Oklahoma, and he had a whole bunch of extra metal and I got some of it. I was very fortunate to Troy, thank you sir. So this is like 1/8 inch plate, and the whole sheet right now measures basically 55.5 by 106 inches. And that's not really going to fit what we're doing, so we're going to cut some off of it. So we're going to get it drug up on the trailer, get it cleaned up because it has had some transmission fluid leak on it for quite a while and some dirt. So we're going to do that, and then I'll show you what we're going to show you our measurements. Okay, close enough. That wasn't too bad getting it drug up on the trailer, but next step we got to clean that rust preventative spot off. That's not gonna be good for us. So we got some rags, we got some brake clean. Let's get it cleaned up. All right, let me show you why we need to do a plunge cut in the middle. All right, so we're trying to do some relief cuts. All right, you can see the angle of the dovetail. We really need to make a bend, but I don't want to use 2 different pieces and try and butt them up. It's much easier to do it out of 1 piece and then just cut some relief cuts and then make some bends. This isn't sketchy at all. All right, well, we got the metal piece put on the dovetail. Now let's get it buffed out. We're gonna use a flap disc, clean up some of these edges, because we're just gonna weld this thing on. I originally thought about using some self-tapping screws along the outside, but I decided that the ones I had were like old roofing screws, and they weren't steel. They're aluminum to prevent rust. And I'm really concerned that things are going to get, if I'm trying to drag something on and off the trailer, the heads are going to snap off and then this thing won't be attached. But it's a nice day. We can get the MIG setup out. I just put a fresh spool of wire in it the other day. So I'm going to get the flap disc out, and we're going to clean some of this up so that we can start MIG welding. Alright, if you haven't seen this on the channel before, this is what I call the ultimate welding cart. Right, so I just took a Harbor Freight lower box that I had from when I worked at a mechanic shop a long time ago. They basically hung one of the new modular titanium welding tables off the back, so that I've got a welder, consumables, all my welding gear, and a work surface all in one. So this thing has been super handy over the past, I don't know, about a year that I built it, so it's been pretty cool. Let's get welding though. we got everything welded out, got the grinder hooked up. So we're gonna attack this with grinding disc, flap disc on the edges so there's no sharp boogers or anything. Knock all that down, knock all this stuff down in the middle. Maybe we have to go over that once again. I tried using the old lay a welding rod down and burn over it. Didn't work. Figured yeah, that didn't work at all. It sucked. So I got to clean all that up. Probably have to go over some of these again, and then you know, we'll see how it looks after I get done grinding on it for a while. All right, trailer dovetail is on. We're gonna sweep it off, maybe wipe it down with a little bit of brake clean or something. We're gonna spray bomb it with this Rust-Oleum 2X satin we've been using on this project. If you've been following along, stuff's pretty good. You know, it's only like $5 or $6 a can, and it's shown to do pretty good in testing and stuff. So let's get that knocked out, and then lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. Right, so this has been drying for probably not nearly long enough, but we're gonna go ahead and drill some screws into it. We're gonna use the same deck screws we used on the deck on the first video. And if you've never seen one of these before, this is a Tajima Chalkrite box. It's my favorite chalk box. This one I've had for probably 10 years. I've got one for blue, one for red. So we're just gonna pop us a little chalk line there. I like using the blue on stuff like this just because, I don't know, it's less permanent, so it does a little bit, cleans up a little bit easier. You don't have a permanent line on your whatever you're working on. Alright, got the trailer cleaned off quite a bit, and as you can see, the weather's getting better. Hoodie came off. Got the rear dovetail done, but one thing, you know, about this whole build, this is not the, oh, do some of the things I want. This is do everything I want on the trailer build. So next part is we're gonna put some metal down, just like on the dovetail, but we're gonna put it down the center of the trailer. Purpose of this is that if we're dragging something onto the trailer, right, like a steel pipe or some building materials or whatever, if we're having to winch it on and it's dragging across the bed, I don't want it to tear up the wood we just replaced. So I've got some more. I've got the cutoff piece from the dovetail. I've got some more pieces back in the side of the house that are, you know, they're already painted, so you can't really do anything with them because they're already primed. You know, a lot of the raw steel you get that you can, you know, do stuff with. But if it's already got a coat of paint on it, you know, you have to strip the paint before you do anything. So we're going to work on getting those cut down and screwed to the trailer. So that's the next part. Alright, as we're waiting for paint to dry, we can now start laying out our E-track. I've got 20 feet of this total, so we'll do basically 5 at the front and 5 at the back on each side. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Boom. Nailed it. Alright, but for real though, I'm going to go put a tape measure on all this. Alright, so what are we going to use to attach the E-track to the trailer? Well, we're going to use these quarter by 20 by, what did I get? 2.5 inch bolts. So we're going to drill through wood, metal, a couple layers of metal, everything. And then we're going to use these locking nuts on the backside with just a regular washer. So, got a whole bunch of quarter-inch bits out of the toolbox. So let's get drilling, because this is gonna take a while. E-track, done. Well, as done as it's going to get. There's a couple spots where there's an existing screw that obviously you can't see, underneath while you're exactly where you're drilling, and there were some couple screws I hit, so we had to kind of mix and match bolt placement, but it's fine. I'm pretty happy with it. I think they're going to be pretty strong. There's like 22 quarter 20 bolts in each one, so this should be strong enough, I would think, especially just to hold down like a car tire or something. Next step is we're going to get our middle pieces, or middle protector for like if we're dragging anything on, like I talked about earlier. We're going to get those mocked up, laid out in place, and then I'll show you what we're going to use to attach them. Spoiler, it's just some wood screws I have laying around. Well, the past 2 days, I've taken off work to work on this trailer. And I gotta say, I have been very grateful I did this. We have tackled so much in this video. New stake pockets, new D-rings. We added some receiver tubes for some future expansions. Rear metal dovetail today, E-track, and the wear piece in the middle that we're putting down for, winching stuff onto the trailer. This is stuff anybody can do. None of it was super complicated. Obviously, I've got the welder and I've got some fab tools, but I promise you, if you have a trailer and you don't have those tools, find a buddy that does. I'll speak for him. He'll probably be willing to help for some, beer or pizza or whatever. And anyways, this is a project anyone can do. I am super happy the way this trailer has turned out. It is so good, so much more usable. I really wanted to tackle the trailer brakes in this video as well, but the wiring is just destroyed. Unfortunately, when I was underneath there tightening up all the bolts for the E-track, I was looking at it and it is real bad, like real bad. Like I need to rewire all of them, and they've got wires that come from the brake drums and go through the axle housing and stuff. So that'll be another video. But for this video, let me know what you thought down in the comments about the trailer build out. We've got we've got at least one more video coming soon, probably, I don't know, the next time you watch this, or it'll be linked at the end of this video. But we've got a drive over fender to do next video. We've got a log lifting arch, and we've got to fix the winch. So those three things I'm going to tackle in the next video. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate you all for hanging out with me. Let me know what you use your trailer for, right? I'm always interested to know what people use their trailers for. Let me know down in the comments, and of course, if there's any products you saw that I can link. Some of the stuff was like from Harbor Freight, like the E-track and stuff. But I'll have a list of products down in the description to help anybody if they're working on a project like this. So do what you always do, take care of one another, and I will see you the next time when we are still working on the trailer, because we're going to be using the heck out of it this year out at our land. Bye.